Joining us now is Seth Kaplan. He's managing partner of Airline Weekly. So, Seth, what do you think about the C919 and how does it stack up to its competitors?
Well, that's what China, Comac in particular, hopes, is that it will stack up well. You know, it's a plane designed to compete against a Boeing 737, for example, which many viewers have flown on, or an Airbus 320. That's actually the plane that this one is most similar to the 320. So far, it has hundreds of orders, which is impressive, mostly from Chinese carriers. That's not uncommon. You know, there was a new Russian plane a few years ago, got orders first from Russian airlines, and then slowly broke into the Western market, still trying to make its way in there, and this will probably take some time as well.
So you mentioned some of its competitors, Boeing, Airbus, trying to put in orders for hundreds of both. There are assembly plants there in China. So considering all of that, how does this fit in to the equation, adding this in?
Well, airlines everywhere are glad it exists, whether or not they've actually ordered any. And again, so far, you know, it's really sort of those Chinese carriers going first, unsurprisingly. But, you know, airlines kind of see it as this big duopoly. Airbus and Boeing, as you mentioned, in terms of larger aircraft. It's different once you get into some of the smaller planes. So, you know, this is a huge market. We're talking about something, you know, Boeing says China alone is going to need 7,000 airplanes over the next 20 years, of which the majority of them, according to Boeing, about 75%, are going to be planes roughly this size. Airbus says, 6,000 planes, not quite as many of what you call narrow-body aircraft, these kinds of planes. But whichever numbers you believe, China needs a lot of them. Airlines everywhere in the world are going to need a lot of them. And all of those airlines are glad to now have another option so that when they're negotiating with Boeing and Airbus, they can say, hey, there's a third option. And, you know, don't be surprised if one of these days one of those airlines actually goes with the Comac.
And China does want to not rely on Airbus and Boeing forever. I mean, this is a long-term solution. Talk to us about the growth of the Chinese travel market. We've seen a lot of big deals lately with American Airlines, United, Delta Airlines partnering, code sharing with Chinese airlines.
Right, and they too are playing a long game here. You know, they understand that this is a market with all kinds of potential, where as much as it has already grown in recent years, as it certainly has done, you know, the vast majority of people in China have yet to ever get on an airplane. So if you get even nearly the penetration in China, you know, people flying at the same kinds of rates that you have in the United States, for example, elsewhere in the developed world, you know, you're talking about the biggest market in the world. And so, yes, you know, Delta has partnered with China Eastern, American now partnering with China Southern, United with Air China. You know, they're all hopeful that that the market between the two countries also will liberalize in a way that they would be able to do more with those airlines. So there could be even more flights. And most experts in government and the private sector expect that that will happen, that this is only the beginning of what's going to be a very big market.
About 30 seconds left. We're looking for this maiden flight set to happen anytime now. What are you going to be watching for and looking for as this plane takes off for the first time?
Well, first, you know, this is just going to be confirmation that this can really happen. You know, it's not the first airplane, certainly, that China's ever produced, but the first that's really going to go head-to-head with Airbus, with Boeing. And I expect it to go well. Look, the engines on this plane, very similar to the very new generation of engines on the new version of the Airbus 320, for example. And so, you know, really just confirmation. You know, my expectation is that it'll go just fine.
All right. Seth Kaplan, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Elaine.